Hi everyone, welcome to Enjoy English. I'm Steven.
大家好，我是 Bernice.
Today's date is January 13th, and for the next 2 days, please look at pages 28 to 31 under features.
我们今天要进入到我们的专题特写。
And the title today is The Lasting Charm of Photo Booths.
我们要来照相了。我们就要进入的是 lasting， 就是一直持续下去的 charm， 就是一种魅力，一种吸引你的感觉。Photo booth 呢，讲的就是那种拍贴机啦，就是你要到一个亭子里面去照相的这一种。
A snapshot of photo booths through time.
我们今天要来坐着小叮当的时光机。好，所以我们要穿越时光到这个所谓的拍贴机里面的这个快照 snapshot。我们知道 snap 就是咔嚓啪的一声很快的这个速度，shot 原本就是拍照的这个动作，所以呢，所谓的 snapshot 就是很快速的照相。
Right, let's get started.
好的。
The lasting charm of photo booths. People have always enjoyed capturing special moments with pictures. One exciting way to do this is by stepping inside a photo booth. The earliest photographic machine was presented at the World's Fair in 1889 by a French inventor, and photo booths quickly caught the public's attention. Several decades later, in 1925, the modern concept of photo booths with a curtain was introduced to New York City by Anatole Josepho. For a small fee, people could receive 8 developed black and white photo strips in about 10 minutes, which seemed almost like magic at the time. Photo booths soon caught on across the United States, and were often seen in train stations, department stores, and amusement parks. By the 1960s, many booths had changed from black and white shots to color portraits, which made them even more attractive. However, as personal cameras grew more common, especially with the rise of Polaroids, which could print photos instantly, photo booths were used less frequently. Still, technology continued to improve the machines, making photo booths faster and more reliable. In the 1990s, booths with computers could deliver sharp, high-quality pictures in seconds. Today, vintage photo strips from old booths are even collected as nostalgic treasures. This combination of history and improvement has helped photo booths remain an important part of popular culture.
People have always enjoyed capturing special moments with pictures.
第一个句子它用到了一个 always 来做一个强调，就是我们人一直以来总是非常的喜欢做一件事情，所以你可以看到它用的是现在完成式，用 have enjoyed。一直很喜欢做什么事情呢？记得 enjoy 后面的动词你要加上 ing， 所以 capturing 很喜欢捕捉一些特殊的、特别的一些 moments， 就是人跟人在一起的这个时刻。用什么来捕捉呢？用 pictures， 用拍照来补充。
And I like the use of the verb capture because usually when there's a moment, it doesn't last forever. You have to get it right at that moment or it will go away. So you have to capture it. Okay. One exciting way to do this is by stepping inside a photo booth.
好，那我们要怎么做呢？他这边就提供了一种很有趣的一个方式。他说其中呢有一个很有趣的方法呢，就是借由，所以这个 by 也是一个介系词啦，所以我们后面也是要加 ing 了。Step inside 就是踏进去，那这边要加 stepping， 记得重复你的字尾，再加 ing， 就是你可以踏进，你可以走进这个所谓的拍贴机里面。
You could also say entering, okay? Entering a photo booth. The enter, E-N-T-E-R. And here, because the main subject is a photo booth, I chose to read it with a intonation that goes upwards. So I said, by stepping inside a photo booth. And I had a little pause before a photo booth to kind of let the reader or the listener know this is the main topic of what we're talking about. The earliest photographic machine was presented at the World's Fair in 1889 by a French inventor. And photo booths quickly caught the public's attention.
好，下面这个句子呢，就来介绍一下，到底最早期的这个拍贴机呢，这个到底是在哪里出现的呢？好，他说其实最早的这个所谓的照相机的这种机器，所以他这边用了一个 photographic 这个形容词去形容你后面的这个名词 machines。好，那这个名词呢，它主要呢 was presented， 我们知道这个 present 在这边的意思呢，就是指它被 displayed。被 introduced 被引进是在什么时候呢？是在1889年好的一个世界这个博览会上面所展出来的。那这个人呢，展出的人是谁呢？他其实是一个 French inventor， 他是一个法国的这个发明家。好，所以就是说呢，这一个第一次的最早的这一个照相机呢，其实就是由这一个法国的这一个inventor 第一次所这个引介出来的。然后呢，他一引介出来的时候呢，这个所谓的拍照机呢 ，photo booth 呢，就 quickly 很快的 caught attention， 就是抓到大家的吸引力来，也就是大家全部都非常的喜欢这样的一个想法，所以这个目光呢，立刻就被吸引到了。
So when you present something, usually it means that you formally deliver or you formally show something at an event. Okay, so it was the first time that this photographic machine was presented. It was at this World Fair. Now, another thing I want to call attention to is what is the public? Okay, the public is just ordinary people in the community. Okay, so the public is just everybody, basically. Also, I want to call attention to the word booth. Okay, when it's in singular form, it's a little easier to pronounce because it has a TH ending, booth. But because it has an S, you can't really do that fully like that sound. So you have to go booths, okay? Kind of have to separate it, booths, like that. So if you read it really quickly, sometimes the TH will be lost a little bit. It'll go booths, okay? So you just have to know that you kind of want to have your tongue to come out, but the S sound comes in quickly, so it kind of takes that TH sound out a little bit, but knowing that it's there will make that word sound a little bit more authentic.
没错，所以老师意思就是说呢，你有碰到这个 TH， 因为原本呢你的舌尖要稍微的伸出来一点，但是因为你又有这个 S 的音，所以呢，因为这个切换的这个速度要稍微的快速一点，所以那个 TH 音感觉好像比较没有那么的强调了，但是你在念的时候还是要让人家感觉有那个字的存在。
Yes, it makes a difference. It really does. Several decades later, in 1925, the modern concept of photo booths with a curtain was introduced to New York by Anatole Josepho.
好，接下来又出现另外一个人了。那这个时间点呢，是大约在数十年后。我们知道这个 decade， 一个 decade 就是一个10年，所以这边加了 s， 就是好几个10年。数十年之后呢，大约是在1925年的时候，这时候呢，就有一个比较现代版的这样的一个概念，好，就是对于这个拍贴机。那这个时候呢，则是这个拍贴机前面会有一个布帘，就是你看到有一个布挡在这个前面。那这个 curtain 的念法，等一下我们再请 Stephen 老师来讲一下啦，他们比较特殊的一个念法。一般我们会念 curtain， 好，但他们native speakers 会有一个比较特殊的念法。然后这一个呢，有着布帘的这个拍贴机呢，就被引入了。引入到哪里呢？引入到这个纽约市，而且呢，是由一位这一个人叫做阿纳托尔Joseph 约瑟夫这样子。
So I like in the beginning of this, we have the setting, several decades later, and then comma in 1925, comma. So here, you could just choose one or the other, but the author is trying to emphasize, they want to let you know what year specifically. So they separated it. So several decades later, comma, in 1925. So I like how they made that choice. Okay? And also curtain, all right? A lot of times when you're learning English, you want to pronounce every letter.
Yeah.
But in America, a lot of people usually tend to take hard T sounds in the middle of words and we kind of swallow it. We make it silent. We go curtain instead of curtain. Okay, so both are acceptable, but it's just you'll hear both.
Yeah， 对，所以你如果在听力练习的时候，有的时候你会听到，哎，老师这个字好像中间有一个什么 T 还是一个什么 D， 好像不见了，就是因为刚才这个 Stephen 老师讲的这个意思。
For a small fee, people could receive 8 developed black and white photo strips in about 10 minutes, which seemed almost like magic at the time.
好，接下来他就讲了，这个时候呢，你如果要使用这样的一种现代概念版的这样的一个有布帘的拍贴机呢，那么你就要花一点点钱，但是也不会很多，所以他就说 small fee， 好，就是只要花一些的钱，那么人们呢就可以 receive， 就是可以拿到什么？他说总共会有8张，好，8张照片，这些照片呢都是 developed。当然，我们在这边 develop 就不是指发展的意思，而是指你的照片冲洗了，它已经帮你冲洗好了。然后，但是呢，那个时候的照片呢，只有黑白的，好，然后它是 strip， 就是长条的这样子，有8张这个照片。然后呢，你多久时间可以拿到？10分钟你就拿到你的照片了啊，有8张。那么这件事情，这个 which 前面加了逗点，因为这个 which 指的是前面这个状况。也就是你在10分钟之内就可以拿到8张黑白长条照片，这件事情在那个时候 at the time 就是 at that time 在那个时候呢，其实似乎几乎就像 magic 像变魔术一样的。
Nicely said. Let's take a short break.
好的。
Photo booths soon caught on across the United States and were often seen in train stations, department stores, and amusement parks.
好，接下来第2段呢，他就开始继续讲这个拍贴机这样的一个热潮啦。因为我们刚刚讲了，大家觉得哇，10分钟之内我就可以拿到8张这样的这个长条照片，所以接下来呢，这个拍贴机很快的就caught on, catch on 表示突然间就变得相当的受欢迎啦，好，然后呢 across the United States 尤其是在美国这个各地到处都流行起来了。比如说呢，你可以在哪边看到这些这个拍贴机呢 were often seen 他们是被看见，比如说第一个你可以在火车站啦，还有在百货公司啦，甚至游乐园里面都看得到。
Yes.So caught on just means like a trend that becomes popular. So this trend of photo booths was becoming popular where? Across the United States. That means all over the United States. Okay, so we have 2 prepositions there right next to each other, but on is actually part of caught, caught on, okay? And across is the preposition that's being used to describe where in the United States. Okay, so just don't be turned off by prepositions being together. You kind of have to know what each one is being used for. By the 1960s, many booths had changed from black and white shots to color portraits, which made them even more attractive.
我们刚才讲了，在那个时候呢，只有这个黑白的照片，可是慢慢渐进的到了1960年代的时候呢，很多的这一些所谓的拍贴机呢，已经开始 had changed， 已经开始有所改变，因为那个时候还是在过去了，所以它改变的方式就是从所谓的黑白的这样的照片呢，到了什么样的照片？到了 color 有颜色的 portrait。我们知道这个 portrait原本也可以指照片或者是人物的这种画像，所以呢就是说，现在呢开始从黑白照片改成了彩色照片 ，which 而前面的这件事情就是从黑白变成彩色的这件事情呢，使得 them 这个 them 当然就是指这些 booths 这些所谓的拍贴机，使得这些拍贴机呢甚至变得更加的 attractive。后面呢，因为你看到一个比较级的形容词，所以我们会用 even 来形容这个比较级的形容词。
Yes, and by the 1960s, it's a good way to say that starting from the 1960s, this is what happened. The opposite of that would be until the 1960s.
直到什么时候？
Yeah, so that's like the opposite. So anything that happened before 1960s, you could say until the 1960s. But here we're talking about what happened after the 1960s. Okay? So that's a good way to start your sentences to let people know what time period you are talking about. Here, I want to talk about the word shot. When we say something is a photo, like a shot of a photo or a snapshot, like we mentioned in our title, it usually means it's a picture that doesn't use a lot of lighting. It doesn't use a lot of planning. It doesn't care about the focus of a picture. It just takes the picture then and there at the most natural state. Okay, but usually when there's a portrait or a photo, like a portrait usually, it means that there's lighting involved and there's more planning for the photo itself before you take the picture.
对，老师在解释这几种照片的不一样。那刚刚老师讲的 shot 就是好像你也不用管旁边的灯光打下来是怎么样啦，或后面的布景啊什么都没有，就是很快的这样子按下去，就这样照了一张很自然的一个照片。那如果我们用到 portrait 呢，就是比较有强调说，你旁边的布景啊、灯光这些布置就对了。
Yes. However, as personal cameras grew more common, especially with the rise of Polaroids, which could print photos instantly, photo booths were used less frequently.
接下来开始出现一个转折了。However， 不过呢，开始随着 as 就是随着我们个人的这种相机呢，开始越来越 common， 越来越普及，大家都有个人相机的时候，尤其是那个时候呢，大家还记得吗？如果那时候有拍立得，一按下去就可以了。所以它操作方式非常的简单。所以呢，因为 with the rise of 就是有什么的这个 rise 本来是上升嘛，所以就是表示它越来越多，就是因为呢有这个拍立得的兴起呢，而这件事情 which 这件事情呢就可以怎么样呢？让拍贴机的使用率呢这个 print photos instantly， 因为它可以立刻就把你的照片给洗刷出来了 instantly 就是立刻马上，所以呢拍贴机就开始变得大家比较实用的这个几率就变得比较下降了。
然后我要快速讲一个部分，我刚才念这个 sentence 的方式也可以注意一下，因为比如说一开始的时候，它 M 中间有个 M dash， 对不对？M dash 中间就是一些补充的资讯。You can look at the first sentence, the original sentence. However, as personal cameras grew more common, photo booths were used less frequently. So read it like that. So any information in between is just additional information. So you kind of have to let the reader or the listener know that you're talking about something else or you're just giving additional information. So you use different intonations to bring that about. For instance, however, as personal cameras grew more common, especially with the rise of Polaroids, so my especially is a little higher to let the reader know, oh, okay, or the listener know I'm talking about something else, giving some additional information, but we have additional information to that additional information, okay? So especially with the rise of Polaroids, which could print photos instantly, so I went from low to high, and then took another pause before I read the rest of the sentence. So when you're reading these things, because a lot of times when I have a lot of students, they'll just read it very, very evenly across. So then the listener will be like, what? Huh? What was that? You know?
Okay.
You have to really let people know what you're talking about, but you have to have these little techniques to make that more clear.
没错，其实 Stephen 老师教你们这个技巧呢，如果同学你平常有在做听力的练习，或者是你甚至要参加考试的时候，你如果听久了，然后你去仔细听，当这个 speaker 开始去转变他的 intonation 的时候，其实那个就是重点，就他要强调这些东西了。这个时候如果是在考试，这就是你的考点了，就在这个地方。对，所以你有时候专心的听他们 native speaker 在念一个句子，他怎么诠释出来，其实也是训练你听力的一个很好的方法。
对，真的不要小看这个技巧。
没错。
Still, technology continued to improve the machines, making photo booths faster and more reliable.
Still 就是尽管是这个样子，也就是说，尽管呢，大家对于拍贴机的使用率呢开始逐渐的下降这件事情，那其实尽管是这个样子呢，但是因为有科技嘛，对不对？所以我们的科技呢就不断的去 continue 后面接 to 持续不断的呢去改善这些所谓的机器，就是这一类型的拍照的这个机器。那就是因为这个样子 making， 所以后面是一个分词构句，使得呢，其实拍贴机现在已经变得更快了，速度可能不用10分钟，好，你的照片就出来了，而且甚加呢，你会觉得更加的 reliable， 更加的稳定。
这个 reliable just means consistently good in quality or performance. Okay, so you don't have to worry about it. You can rely on it. Okay. In the 1990s, booths with computers could deliver sharp, high-quality pictures in seconds.
你看，所以我刚刚就说了，你不用10分钟了，几秒内就出来了啊！所以这个时间点呢，就是到了1990年代。1990年代的时候呢，这一个所谓的拍贴机啊， 尤其是有电脑在里面帮助辅助的，它甚至可以 could deliver，所以它甚至可以怎么样呢？输出来，就是我们本来知道 deliver 就是帮你送货啊、送出去啊这样子，所以这边的 deliver 就是它从电脑里面输出来，甚至可以输出来更加的 sharp。我们知道这个 sharp 原本有尖锐的意思，当然它这边也有表示很清晰的意思，而且甚至是 high quality 是品质相当高的这个照片，只要几秒呢。
So anything when we're talking about sharp when it comes to photos, it just means it's very clear or well focused. Okay. Today, vintage photo strips from old booths are even collected as nostalgic treasures.
所以到了今天呢，还有一些是比较 vintage， 就是比较 old， 比较旧式一点的哈。旧式一点的这个拍贴机呢，它依旧呢是从比较这个所谓复古的啊这种长条的这个照片里面出来的嘛，啊，所以这个 vintage 原本就是复古的哈这种长条的照片，那么是由旧式的，就是之前还没有搭配这些高科技的东西在里面，这样子的一些所谓的拍贴机呢，甚至现在呢也被人家 collected， 大家就开始怀旧啦，所以大家就开始想要收集一下以前旧式的这种拍贴机，这种比较复古的这个照片。然后呢，为什么要收集这些所谓的这个照片？因为他认为要当作是一种怀旧的 treasures， 他觉得是一种宝物。
And when we say something is vintage, another adjective we sometimes use is old school. Okay. But vintage has an extra layer of meaning that it's something of high quality.
就是有比较高品质的。
Yeah, so that's what we mean by something that is vintage. So we usually, when you think of that word, you know it's from the past, but you also know it's of high quality. It's something that people might want to collect. Okay? And when we say nostalgic, the noun that is related to that is nostalgia. Okay? Nostalgia. Okay, and that means that you have a sentimental longing for a period of the past. Okay, so let's say I drink a soda that I had when I was a kid, and I'll have a feeling of nostalgia. And I can describe that as nostalgic. Okay?
所以这个就是讲你怀念以前的一个东西，对不对？
This combination of history and improvement has helped photo booths remain an important part of popular culture.
没错，我们知道 combination 就是把 A 跟 B 结合在一起啦，所以这样子的一种旧式的东西，跟现在因为有科技的关系哈，比较这个先进版的这样的一些拍贴机呢，把这两个东西呢结合在一起，不管是它的 history 啦，它的历史，跟现在我们讲的 improvement， 当然就是讲现在科技的这些进步，当把这两样东西结合的时候呢，就可以帮助，所以has helped 就是一直以来都有助于呢这些拍贴机呢依旧持续呢是我们现在这个大众文化里面相当重要的一个部分。
All right, so hopefully you guys learned a lot about photo booths today. Tomorrow we're going to continue with this topic, so we hope to see you then.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.